Today, we're going to crack a code. We're going to solve a fascinating business mystery. How do some companies manage to do what feels almost impossible these days and last for centuries? Well, it turns out the answer is hiding in plain sight, right in Japan.
I mean, this is the question, right? Especially now, when you see corporate giants rise and fall in what feels like the blink of an eye. What's the real difference between a company that builds a legacy that lasts and one that just disappears? The secret isn't some new tech disruption or Wall Street trick. It's something way more fundamental.
And here is our first huge clue. Check this out. Japan, a single country, is home to over 56% of all companies in the entire world that are over 100 years old. Now, that is not a coincidence, that's a pattern. And that's where we need to look.
And this fact makes the whole thing even more wild. See, back in the 1950s, a big company on the S&P 500 could expect to be around for about 60 years. Today, that lifespan has absolutely plummeted to less than 20. So as businesses everywhere else seem to be burning out faster and faster, these Japanese companies are showing this incredible staying power. The question is, how are they doing it?
You know, the usual answers you hear. Being efficient, being innovative. That's all part of the story, sure. But the real secret? It's deeper than that. It's a philosophy. It's a total shift in how these companies look at the single most important person in any business, their customer.
All right, so this shift all boils down to one simple but powerful idea. It's a choice between seeing a consumer and seeing a live-in person. And trust me, understanding this difference is the key to unlocking the whole thing. Okay, so let's break this down. On one side, you have the shohisha. That's the consumer. This view is purely transactional. It sees a person as basically a wallet, a target, someone who just exists to buy stuff. But the philosophy that endures is all about the seikatusha. This sees the whole person, a mother, a friend, a dreamer, someone with a rich, complicated life full of hopes and worries that goes way beyond the single moment they might buy your product.
So, this is the heart of it, the Seikatsusha philosophy. It's not about finding clever ways to interrupt someone's life to make a sale. No, it's about understanding their world so deeply that your brand can actually become a meaningful part of it.
This quote just nails it, right? People are not born to be users of an app. They are born to be mothers, friends, travelers. And you can add people who love grilled meat to that list. The companies that really get this, that connect with those real human truths, those are the ones that build relationships that can literally last for generations.
Okay, so that's the theory, but how does this actually work in the real world? Let's dive into an amazing case study that involves beer, beautiful cherry blossoms, and a really deep cultural connection.
So here's how Kirin Beer put this whole philosophy into action. They didn't start with their product. They started with the Seikatsusha, the living person. They saw that Hanami, the annual cherry blossom viewing, is this cherished ritual. It's central to the Japanese soul. But they also saw a real problem, a national worry. These beloved sakura trees were getting old and were at risk. So they built a bridge. They turned their beer into a way to support a mission, to save this incredible piece of cultural heritage. And this wasn't some vague marketing promise. No, Kirin made their commitment super tangible, super real. For every single can of beer they sold, they pledged a specific amount, 3.5%, directly to a fund for planting and preserving these trees for the next generation. It was a clear, direct, and powerful contribution.
And with that one move, the choice for a person standing in the store aisle completely changed. It wasn't about which beer tasted a little better or which one cost a few yen less. Suddenly, it was about which beer helps save a cherished way of life. Kirin wasn't just selling beer anymore. They were selling a chance to preserve the soul of the nation.
Now, you might be thinking, this is a great old-fashioned idea. But here's the thing. This philosophy isn't stuck in the past. It's actually becoming more important than ever as we all try to figure out technology and the new age of AI.
So let's look at the timeline. The ad agency Hakuhodo first put a name to this idea way back in 1981. We've just seen how it's being used today in powerful campaigns like Kirin's, but this philosophy is still growing.
The next step is something called a virtual Seikatsusha, which takes this deeply human idea and brings it right into the digital world.
So what in the world is that? Well, think of it like an AI-powered persona. It's built from huge amounts of data, both numbers and stories, to create this really dynamic profile of a living person. It lets brands understand human lives on a much deeper and faster level. But, and this is the most important part, the goal isn't to replace human connection. It's a tool to get closer to the real complex lives of the people you want to serve.
And that really brings us to the final critical question that every single business leader has to ask themselves. Are you just building a relationship that ends the second the transaction is over? Or are you building one that could last for 100 years? Because the secret to longevity, it isn't in what you sell. It's in who you see. So, are you just selling to a consumer? Or are you connecting with a life?